Hey guys, welcome back to the BAE podcast. We are here for our Dear Fear series. I'm your host, Miss West Creative Coach, and I have the pleasure of having Julius Vaughan here today. So excited. Julius, go ahead and introduce yourself for the people.
How you doing? My name is Julius Vaughan. I have a t-shirt brand called Mentally Wealthy. Tagline: Mental health is wealth, and it's really just about putting your mental health first, making that the top priority. I believe that we're all in this stressful time. We're trying to get this bag, trying to build this business, and while that's important, life has just taught me that the most important thing is taking care of your mental health, because without that, the wealth really can't materialize. So.
That's a fact. I love to have you here because we're both in the mental health field. And I think many people think that if you are a practitioner, a therapist, an advocate, a coach, consultant, that you don't struggle with the things that you're teaching. And I mean, false.
Absolutely.
Right. I actually think that we struggle with it even more. And that's kind of what leads us to the path to make an impact. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I have to agree with you. I really think that sometimes we can get caught up into pouring into other people so much that we forget to pour into our own cup, or
Mm-hmm.
we don't pour into our own cup enough,
Yep.
right? So if you were to think about the analogy, we always say you can only pour from a cup that's overflowing, right? Well, when you're in this kind of a field, whether you're a coach, whether you're a therapist or whatever, you're not serving just a small table or just your best friend or so. You're serving the pool. You're serving the entire party, right? So your cup that you got to fill isn't just maybe like a little dinner time cup, right? You might got to fill a jug, right, to
Mm-hmm.
pour from, right? So it's important that you pour extra into yourself. You know what I mean? And so I absolutely agree with you.
I agree with that. So when you say you're not only serving the person who's in front of you, you're serving even a bigger portion. Are you talking about like the skills that you're teaching them is for them to go and implement and make a continued impact?
No, I mean, no, I'm talking about burnout. I'm talking about you specifically, burnout,
Gotcha.
right? So as a coach, you pouring into other people, as you talked about, pouring into your other self, pouring into yourself can kind of fall to the wayside sometimes. But I
Gotcha.
think, you know what I mean, it's when you're serving other people in the way that you are, it's even more important that you pour into yourself, because the pool in which you're pouring into is so large. You
Gotcha.
follow me? You can't
I
pull
am.
from yeah.
You know what's funny? Because where my mind goes, because I totally agree with you, but I think also we have some pressure because let's say you're working with somebody and you're teaching them on anger control, right?
Mhm.
And as you're teaching them, the goal is for them to address their anger control so they can make sound decisions. So as we're serving and teaching, I know for me sometimes it's like, okay, the ultimate result is for them not to go and do A, B, and C, which impacts their child, their partner, etc. And all of that weight is like a domino effect in regards to our overflow that needs to be, because every time we talk, even this right here, I know for me, I always have to decompress after I'm doing some kind of live interaction, whether it's a podcast, whether it's my accountability on demand group coaching program, or whether I'm presenting. Once the light goes off, I'm like, whew, even though when we're on, we're on. And so I just feel like we're exerting energy in so many different areas, physically, mentally, emotionally, subconsciously. And we're wrapping up mental health month, May, but mental health month needs to be every single day, every single month. It's crucial.
Hmm.
So
I
tell me
agree with
about
you.
your brand, like literally, and pull your shirt up a little bit because we covering the logo, whatnot. Mentally wealthy, mental health is wealth. What triggered this whole creation of a brand?
Yeah, so as I said before, it's something that really life has kind of taught me, right? I battled with depression and social anxiety for well over 10 years, going back to my college years. And so one of the misconceptions with depression is that sometimes, I mean, that every time you go through it, like you're gonna go through it and it's like you're gonna get over it, it's done. Right. But if you don't have the necessary things in place, right, you're not going to therapy and implementing these things, oftentimes it comes back. And that's what was happening with me, right? To the point where, you know, I'm grown, I got a family, right? I get a, you know, good job working for the government, everything that looked right. But because I didn't tend to my mental health the way I was supposed to and consistently enough, as I progressed in my career, it affected me. It came back. Early on, depression had gotten so bad where I attempted to take my life. Right, so I was very familiar with this thing and how I looked. When I was in my 9 to 5, it came back to that same strength. Right, to the point where I was stuck. I had those suicidal thoughts, and things got so bad where I had to check myself into a hospital. I spoke with a therapist, a psychiatrist, and she recommended that I take off from my job. And she was like, you know, you can do some type of leave where it can be as needed, or we can just give you 3 months flat out. I said, give me 3 months. I'm out, right? Because the environment was so toxic. Yeah. It was so toxic. I remember at one point, I had called out, right? I called my boss, said, hey, I'm not going to be in today. My son's sick. And she told me, well, you're going to have to find someone else to watch him. No. You got to come in. I said, no, I don't think you hear me. My son is sick. I will not be in today. Well, there's going to be consequences. I said, you do what you have to do. I'm not coming in. Hung up the phone. Consequences was got suspended, obviously no pay. And that affected my family. I come home from work one day. My son, he's a child. I think he was like a little over 1 at this time, right? Sitting in a high chair, crying. Turned to my wife. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, he's hungry. I said, well, we got food, right? She said, no, we don't have any food in the house. At this time, I had $5 in my name. I had just signed up for Uber, right? Got approved. So I was like, and because of the suspension, I was like 3 weeks out before some income was coming. So I got in my car. I went and drove. First $10, went to the store, got me some food, brought it back home, and I stayed out the entire night to make money. And I said, I'll be damned, but I said, I'll be damned if this happens again to my son, to my family. Nobody's gonna take any food off my plate because of something that's, you know, selfish, right? The environment was toxic.
Was this like a mental health role?
I'm sorry?
Was this what kind of role were you in?
I was working for the federal government, Department of Defense.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. So, you know, that was like enough is enough, you know, between that, you know, other things going on in the job. Long story short, I left my job. And during those 3 months that the doctor gave me, I just noticed a big difference, big change in my energy, how I was showing up for my family and everything. And so I was like, you know, I just can't go back. I can't go back to that job. So I worked as an Uber driver to see if I could replace my income during those 3 months. I did. The day I was supposed to come back, I walked in and gave my boss the notice. I said, I'm out. I never looked back. So that was another thing that was just like, you know what? I don't care how good something might look. If it is negatively impacting your mental health, you gotta let it go.
You know, I think as a society, as a community, we're learning that. But back in the day, you don't let no job go. You wait till they tell you to go. I know at least how do I say this, culturally, like being an entrepreneur, like I'm the first person in my family who's an entrepreneur, first person who's even considering doing this full time. And when I tell family about it, girl, you crazy, you got that. And so you get these things in your ear when really if you have faith and you believe in the impact and the value you make, you're going to be all right. Right. But when it hits to your mental health, that should be a non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
Because I think we forget we can get another job. Those aren't going anywhere. It might not be what you want. It might not be you working from home, but it will be a role that you can do because just like we done got all these jobs in the past, you can get another job. But I think we get comfortable. But I'm so proud of you. First of all, thank you for sharing your story. And then secondly, I'm proud of you for doing what you did, because some of us will, I got to find a sitter. I got to go to work. The master calling. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Yeah, I think we have to remember, of course, I'm an ET fan as well. You're an ET fan as well, right? One of the big things he talks about is always reminding yourself why you do what you do, you
Right.
know? And it's like a lot of times we're out here hustling, we're trying to get a bag, whether it's building a business, we're trying to, work this 9 to 5 or whatever. And the people we love most is suffering,
Yeah.
So
Very true. So, what do you have planned right now in regards to soaring in your gifts, making sure that your message with mentally wealthy is out there in the universe? Like right now, what do you have percolating?
next week I have something called a safe space, right? Which is an open discussion around topics dealing with mental health,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's an environment whether you're going through something yourself, you have a loved one going through something, we can come together and have these discussions, share our fears, share our concerns, share our experiences, right? As we talked earlier, I was doing some coaching, I was doing some speaking, and I shut it down to tend to my family. And when I really got connected with them and helping my wife get her mental health together, one of the things I started noticing was the value of us leaning on one another. Right? You know, what came out of that was knowledge beyond whatever I thought was possible. Like Lashana, you in the field, I didn't know that there was a such thing as a trauma-based therapist, right? And so initially, when she started going to therapy, she was just taking the cognitive behavior therapy, right? And she was struggling with it. It really wasn't working. But it wasn't until someone recommended that, hey, she gets a trauma-based therapist, that she got with one and she started seeing results. So I wanted to create that environment in which we can have these kind of conversations and share these experiences and help one another out, right? Because therapy is too important for us to give up on it because we stumbled upon the wrong therapist, right? Or we're struggling finding the right therapist. It's too important. It's too critical for our lives, right? And so if I can create an environment that we can share those kind of experiences and help one another, that'd be great. So that's happening next week.
Awesome. And before we wrap up, I'll definitely have you share where they can find more information. But I wanted to backpedal because I think a lot of times when the therapist is not a good fit, we just say F therapy, therapy doesn't work. But literally, it's not even about cultural. Like I could find a Black therapist. That doesn't mean it's a connection. We got to dig deeper. Is it a trauma therapist, CBT? Is it someone who is specialized in the certain gender identification that I do? Sexual therapist, like they're just like we go and we look for the dopest lash artist or the best person that can do a tight fade for the specific fade that we want. We got to have that same vigor and same persistence when looking for the right therapist, and being persistent and not giving up if we have to go to 2 or 3 to get our needs met. Because if you think about it, when someone's newly out of school and they're new into the therapeutic realm, they're probably a little green. They might not be effective that can really dig deep and support you. Not saying they're not a good therapist, but it might not be the one that you need. So I love that you brought that out, because if you get on Psychology Today, Black Girls Therapy, whatever platform you're looking at, there is a filter for you to find the one that connects best with you. So I'm excited for the platform you're creating. Is this like a group platform, or what's the framework or the structure of it?
Yeah, so this is going to be like a group platform, group setting. Right now, I'm doing it in person. I'm located in the area of Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
So I will be doing it in person at Impact Hub, which is a co-working space that's available in the city, inner city.
Got you.
But eventually, we'll be transitioning it from in person to online as well. I know it's a little backwards. A lot of us start online and transition in person, but yeah, that's what I want to do with this thing.
I would say whatever the need is. Congrats on that. just to change pace a little bit, what I've been doing with all of my guests is doing a quick on the spot chat with fear. So what I mean by that is, like, I want you to look dead in the camera like you're talking to fear and really tell fear what you want to share with it, whether, you know, the impact, how you triumphant, anything that you want to share with fear. Couple minutes, couple seconds, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then I'm going to go as well, and then we'll wrap up the podcast session. So, would you like to go, or you want me to go first?
I'll go ahead and go first. I'll go ahead and go.
Oh, okay, let's go.
So if I had to go straight, I would say, you don't have all the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway. You know, I understand the role you play. As they call you, you know, false evidence appearing real. I hear what you say, but I'm gonna go despite what you're saying. I'm gonna go because it's time to prove you wrong. So yeah.
Peace out. Nope, no play. I ain't say the whole word, but listen, it's funny because, like, when you be talking to fear, it's like a whole different kind of persona come, because that's what you got to do. Usually I say, I need us to be as firm with fear and as assertive with fear as we are with the bill collectors.
Mm-hmm.
When the bill collectors call my mama, you would think she a kingpin thug. Like straight up stunting on the bill collectors, right? But when fear calls, we shrink. So here's my go at fear. So it's funny because we give you a lot of attention and you would think it's because you're relevant, but it's because you're really not. And the reason why we talk about you so much is because we want you to know that we're not afraid. And with you being around, with you planting these seeds in our heads, it just reminds us on how much harder we have to talk about you, so we can let everybody know that you're this small, you're very minute. So you can keep trying, because actually it's kind of good. It gives us a reminder of how hard we got to keep thugging this thing out. But you might as well give up, because you're not staying nowhere.
Throw in the towel, bro.
Awesome. So how was that, Julius?
I think it was pretty good. It was really good. Yeah, if I was fair, I'd give up.
I mean, literally, like, what do you think is fueling fear? Like,
I would have to say trauma. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go a little deeper. I'm gonna say unconscious trauma. One of the things that you're familiar with. One of the things I learned was we only know what we're exposed to. It's impossible for us to know anything other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you look at someone who skydives, jumps out of planes, right? Maybe that was in their family lineage, right? Maybe their parents jumped out of planes. Maybe no one told them, hey, you could die doing this thing, right?
Right.
That's one of the things that I want to do eventually. And one of the things that I keep going back to try to motivate me to get there is the reality that you're more likely to die in a car crash than you are, jumping out of a plane.
Yeah.
But I know that was kind of a little off topic, but I think what motivates fear is unconscious traumas.
No, I think you're spot on with that. And it's funny, I'm kind of not pivoting, but I'm repositioning my support with entrepreneurs. It's letting them know how trauma is really impacting business.
Oh, yeah.
Past trauma, whether it's abuse and neglect, whether it's being bullied, whether it's being exposed to domestic violence, not really having a lot of attention, not having a voice. Okay, we get into this new world of entrepreneurship. And even though we have this dope product, We don't want to ask for the sale. We can't show up on social media and go live. We're shrinking. We're not saying yes to opportunities. Okay, is it low self-esteem? Is it lack of confidence? Okay, let's just say yes. But where does that come from? Where does that come from? Let's just back it up. So it's funny because June 7th, I'm having a Trauma to Triumph masterclass, and we're gonna dig deep. I would love for you to be there.
Oh yeah, cool.
Super excited about it, and we got to connect the dots on how limiting beliefs and past trauma is impacting business, which impacts the money. Yep. All right. It's been a dope conversation. I always want to know, like, and I know you talked about safe space. How can we reach out to you? Where do we go? Where are you at in the social media streets? And then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Mental Health is Wealth, _ Mental Health is Wealth. Also, definitely get the gear, Mentally Wealthy. Oh, and LaShawn, I forgot to point out, if you look at the W, the H is in the W, right? Because health is in wealth. Right?
Oh, I love that.
So,
I didn't realize that. I have the black one. What other colors you got?
So yeah, so I'm just released the blue. I have purple, gray, and we also getting some like some t-shirt type hoodies going on. So I just I'm sorry?
Thin hoodies?
Well, yeah, it's a t-shirt. It's actually like a workout material.
Gotcha.
And it has a hood to it.
Nice. Right? Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna be dropping some new gear coming soon. So that's definitely, keep in touch. Go to the website. The website is mentally-wealthy.com and check us out.
Good stuff. Well, thank you again, Julius, for coming on. I'm excited for your upcoming project that you're working on, and make sure you guys check out the Trauma to Triumph Masterclass June 7th. The link will be in the description, and we'll see y'all next time on the BAE Podcast.